Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies, located in Melbourne, Florida. Hey, check out their Facebook Live auctions, as well as our friends at Docking Bay 94, located in Boca Raton, Florida. Check out their deals on comicsandgames.com. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New202. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You. Well, it's that time of month again where we look at this month's comic book pickups. Now, to those of you that are new and probably you stumbled upon this channel for the first time, there's really no format. I don't really just do modern books. I do back issues as well as modern books. Some of the books I pick up are, in fact, from speculation. And then you'll see later on when I get them graded, PGX or EGS will grade some of these books. So it's kind of cool to see the whole process from when you pick up the book to the end. So that's why I like doing this. Now, these books, you may want to add them to your pull list or on your searches, or hey, it's just fun to look at these great books, reminisce if they're back issues, or something you might want to pick up. Now, the big news, it's not it wasn't a secret. I've kind of known for the last 2 or 3 months, but the big news is that Transformers and GI Joe have been awarded to Skybound/Image Comics, and they just released the first issue called Void Rivals, which is kind of starting their own universe. So I know a lot of people in the GI Joe community, a lot of these people that are jumping back in to GI Joe are kind of like, hey, wait a second, there's no GI Joe in this issue. They're setting up for a bigger picture. I think Robert Kirkman, we all know him from Walking Dead. This is his kind of division within Image. So he kind of like has his own Skybound is basically rolls up into Image. So I think that's a good thing to do for him as far as a business sense. I think that where starting off on your own company, you could easily, we've seen a lot of comics companies come and gone. We got Marvel, DC, of course, they're the big ones. Now, Image is in Dark Horse are the other, second tier, and then all these other ones like Boom, IDW, Dynamite, are kind of like tier number 3. And then there's like Zenoscope and all this other tier number 4. That's how I look at it. They're like, I break those down into tiers. But we got some great books here, a nice, good mixture. I think better than last month. So we're going to dive into that. And unfortunately, in the background, you're just going to be seeing this. Usually I play some retro game or some video in the background on the old Sony Trinitron. But I'm actually in the middle of filming the next episode of Late Night. Late Night is a segment where I play an old game on an old console on an old TV. So we have about 11, I have 11 retro systems. I suck at all of them, but I still give it a try. So we're going to do SOCOM. And since we're talking about Void Rivals, we're going to discuss why I think a G.I. Joe game based on how SOCOM was set up would be really advantageous. The whole thing in the 80s, and I know I'm going off a little bit here, but the whole thing that we learned from the 80s with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and that we all learned from Star Wars is you got to come at things at like all fronts. Now, maybe the toys isn't to appeal to young people. I think the toy thing isn't really touching. I mean, mostly adults are buying these, whether Transformers or G.I. Joe are buying the toys. But I think introducing a game as well as, the end credits we saw in the last Transformers with a hint of G.I. Joe and how this shared universe is going to kind of start taking shape, that's a nice way to hit on all different mediums, I should say. So I think a G.I. Joe game that's kind of like SOCOM would be really good. I mean, I forgot how good this game is. So if stay tuned for that episode. We're going to go more in depth in my playthrough of SOCOM. We're just going to do SOCOM 1, even though I have SOCOM 1 and 2. Maybe in another episode of Late Night, we'll do SOCOM number 2. But this game is I forgot how much fun this game is. So that's why I love that segment, is it gets a chance for me to play and you guys to join in. So let's dive in with the books for this month of June 2023. Alrighty, so we're going to start off with some big books. I mean, these are books that are recognized, they're popular, they're famous, but they're facsimiles. Now, you may think, whatever, but the fact of the matter is, I like the facsimiles that Marvel and DC are doing. I mean, they're doing a verbatim, page for page reprinting of these iconic issues, many of them out of normal people's price range, especially when you have a mortgage and cars and a retirement and everything else. I mean, I'm not going to spend $5,000 on a fucking comic book. I mean, get out of here. So, but I'm such a big fan that I still want to be able to enjoy that issue. And also, another smart thing that I've been doing with these iconic facsimiles is I send them to PGX Grading Services. We'll have the picture here. And what they do is they take it, they slap on a custom label, and it looks like decor. I mean, I have, my regulars know I've showcased this. I think I did it last month as well. But we have Amazing Spider-Man #1 done by PGX, and we see that wonderful custom label. And then the same thing with Superman issue #1, again with another iconic custom label. And I mentioned about how the S on this one is like the Henry Cavill Superman, Man of Steel S. I kind of like that. It's kind of a nice mixture of old and new, and PGX did a really good job on these two books. So I have these two books in my living room, and it's hilarious how people do a double take when they're like, like is that really Superman 1 and Amazing Spider-Man #1? But of course it says facsimile in it. But still, this is a nice decor, and they do have some value. I think, not too much, but like maybe 50, $70 when it's high grade and it looks as nice like this. But this is a wonderful thing to do with these iconic facsimiles. And then look at the back, everything is, nice. So with that aside, let's take a look at the iconic issues that we got. Now, with the new Into the Spider-Verse animated series, which a lot of people, the first one was amazing. I still have yet to see the new one that just got released. But one of the big characters is Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy. A lot different from the Gwen Stacy that we grew up with. Modern kids, today's kids know Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen. And that's just the evolution of the character. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's great that kids, there's a cartoon series, I think, on Disney where it has like Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and Gwen Stacy. They're like a team. It's like Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends, but with the 3 spider characters. And they all go and fight crime and stuff like that. So when these kids grow up, that's going to be their Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends, is those 3 spider characters. Now, with that said, we got the iconic issue #121, The Death of Gwen Stacy. So I think that is a book. It is somewhat attainable. You could get it probably maybe 6 to 4 type grade range. You could get it at a decent price. But the 9s and the 9.8s are in the thousands. So, but still it's something that is attainable. And hey, who knows, I may end up getting a lower graded copy of this iconic issue, but this looks absolutely beautiful. I think Spider-Man issue number 121, it's just nice to be able to hold it and touch it and flip through the pages versus reading it on a online or something like that. So this is definitely a nice one that I picked up. Now, the evolution of Gwen Stacy is her first appearance as Spider-Gwen. This is the fourth printing of Edge of Spider-Verse, the first appearance of Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen. Again, if for those that don't know, this is a totally different universe where the spider bit Gwen Stacy versus Peter Parker. And, she's a prominent character being featured in this new Into the Spider-Verse series. Her relationship with Miles Morales, I think, there's not much of a spoiler, but I think they start developing feelings for each other. Yeah. So it's going to be nice to see, they may make spider babies down the road. So who knows? But this is one of those iconic issues. I want to get the actual first print one of this, so I'm going to be on the hunt for that. But just for now, it's nice to pick up this copy, be able to read how the story of how Spider-Gwen came to be, and it's a way for us older people to connect with this younger generation, and that's what comics is all about. It's not 9.8. It's not about how much money is it. Comics is a great way to connect with people, whether it be young, black, white, red, green, Hindu, Muslim, Jew, Christian. It don't matter. Comics is the ultimate way to connect with people. So I definitely think that picking up books like this and talking to my nieces and getting them interested in this character is a wonderful thing. And again, we have another two facsimiles. I picked this up earlier, but I wanted to get another one. But Dracula issue number 1. Now I have Dracula 2, 3, 4, and 5, but I don't have issue number 1. Now people may be asking, hey, wait a second. Didn't you get this one graded by EGS with the custom label? Yes, I did, but somebody really was a Dracula fan, so I ended up gifting it to them as a gift. So I picked up another Dracula issue number 1. This will go off to EGS as well, and hopefully I'll be able to keep this one. But that made someone's day. It was a nice gift, and it was a treasured gift. So it was a win-win giving that Dracula issue number 1 to a good friend that really didn't care. It's the fact that it looked nice. It's Dracula number 1, and they were really grateful for it. So that's another reason getting comics and getting them graded. They make great gifts too. So I think this is definitely a good thing to do. And the next book is Batman issue number 181, the first appearance of Poison Ivy. This book has been making a lot of noise for some reason. A lot of the trending lists have this spiking. Now, the interesting about this issue is that there is a centerfold in it. So probably 5 out of 10, that centerfold is missing. It's with the dynamic duo. Kids would probably rip that and hang it on the wall. So a lot of these issues are missing that centerfold poster. But of course, this issue is in the thousands, in a high grade, middle to high grade, they're in the thousands. So getting such an important character as Poison Ivy, first appearance, is nice. And who cares if it's a facsimile? I like how they use newspaper. Like, that's another thing with these. They use newspaper. So you get the feel. Let me pull it out. But it's like a sustainable paper. So you see here, there's a centerfold I'm talking about. And then like the whole newsprint. I love that. Like, you get to feel what modern day, because obviously comics don't use this newspaper anymore. But again, just that feel of that crisp newspaper is absolutely, I wish they went back to this. Seriously. I mean, this is such a good, it feels so good. Let me see this one. If I remember correctly, I think they also have a news. No, this one uses the high gloss paper. So DC edges Marvel in their facsimiles and that. I know some people might like the modern print, but I think this one's the same thing. Yeah, see, they uses that high gloss paper. So it's not, DC uses the newspaper. So kudos to DC. I had to remind myself about that. So Batman number 181, the first appearance of Poison Ivy. The next book we're going to take a look at is the Dark Horse series, Star Wars The High Republic Adventure, Jedi to the Rescue. Now this has been trending really high because it introduced a whole new bunch of Jedi characters. Now we hear this inkling that Disney is going to be doing a High Republic series further down the road, maybe in Disney Plus, or eventually a movie based upon the High Republic. It is something that's down the road. So these storylines has the potential of a lot of characters. So I picked this up even though I'm kind of, Star Wars, I'm an 80s kid and I love Star Wars to death. And my regulars know. But when you get like what they've done to Star Wars, especially when I sat in that movie theater and watched The Last Jedi, and my heart broke to see what happened to Luke Skywalker and what has happened to the Star Wars world. So it kind of like, it hurts, but at the same time, you can't turn your, people know I pick up the toys every now and then. It's like you can't turn away from it. So that's why I picked up this book. Hey, maybe down the road, these characters will be introduced, and I'm going to give this an honest read and see what I think. Maybe there's something significant or a good story. I have no idea, but I can't let being hurt affect just being turned off to something entirely. Like, I'm the type of person that is a glass half full. I think that's how I am with everything in life. I always see things as half full, not half empty. I that's how I keep going forward with things. And this is just in everything in general. So Star Wars, The High Republic, Jedi Adventures, Jedi to the Rescue, issue number 1. Nice cover too. I think it's a pretty nice cover. The next book we're going to take a look at, I had to pick this up. Wonder Woman, issue number 800. Now, this is, of course, a milestone issue, so people know how milestone issues are. They could be hit or they could be a miss. But the artwork itself, it kind of gives me a George Perez vibe. That's why I kind of gravitated. I have the issue number 1 of Wonder Woman with George Perez's iconic wraparound cover, and I got that actually at the Secret Stash, the Jay and Silent Bob store. So when I was visiting my folks, it's about an hour drive from Philadelphia. So it was nice to pick up that. And I forget Mike. Yeah, Mike is the guy who works. He's there all the time. Mike was like, "This is a good pickup." He was like, because that's when George Perez was kind of like terminal. He didn't pass away yet, but it was kind of like any day now, So I think when Mike saw that, he was like, your shit. And it's a good, appropriate book to pick up. So this kind of gives me that George Perez vibe. And, it's a good place to start. I haven't read Wonder Woman comics in so long. So definitely a good pickup right there. The next book is something that I saw the cover and I had to pick it up. because it was so beautiful. PowerGirl Special #1 with the art gem cover. Now this is absolutely stunning. Now what's interesting is I actually had PowerGirl's DC Showcase #37. Unfortunately, I sold that. But another iconic PowerGirl cover that I have hanging over here, let me show you, is the Adam Hughes cover. Now, unfortunately, this is not going to be getting graded because it has a lot of yuck. I don't know what the hell this is, but it looks like a like I don't know, something like a food or something there, which is sad. But this is an iconic Adam Hughes cover, and I wish this wasn't the case, but this is beautiful. So when I saw this art gem cover, I think it was done really nicely. It's so beautiful that I had to pick this up. So PowerGirl Special #1. And of course, I mentioned earlier the Void Rivals, the beginning of the Transformers GI Joe. What is it called? What do they call it? Energon universe, I think that's what they called it. So I'm already halfway done through this so far. So we're going to give it a try and see. And I forgot to add that Larry Hama is going to be continuing with the Real American Hero storyline. So we last end with issue number 300. So far, he has up to issue number 305 done. He's still working. I think there's also going to be a Duke series, and there's going to be a Cobra Commander series. I don't know if Larry Hama's A Real American Hero is going to be part of this Energon universe. I haven't really asked that far into it yet. But I know that the Duke and Cobra Commander are kind of being into that Energon universe. And they're going to have two different writers. So it's going to be interesting. I like the fact that there's some type of game plan, that there's some line of communication between Image, Skybound, Hasbro, and Paramount Pictures. So how they're all going to tie in together into a shared universe and to successfully market this to young people. Because like I've been saying when we started this channel in 2015, G.I. Joe is a dying franchise. Once Gen X is 6 feet in the ground, G.I. Joe, as we know it, will be gone. The only way is to appeal to a younger demographic. And I think out of all the IPs, G.I. Joe is probably the best one that is not being utilized properly. You got a team of diversity. You got people working together for a common goal, for a greater good. What is more relevant than that in this day and age? To showcase that, all of this bullshit of, hate, bigotry, discrimination, violence, it's so stupid, that we could all need to get together and work together and defeat evil. So I think G.I. Joe is so primed to appeal to a younger demographic that it needs to be fully. I am hoping that this is successful. As a 82 to 94 kid that grew up with this line, you guys, my regulars, know how much I love G.I. Joe, how much it means to me, how Transformers means to me. So I hope this is successful, and it looks like from the initial plans that we're heading in the right direction. So something to look forward to. The next book, it's kind of tough because of all my nieces that are crazy about Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Spider-Man issue number 26 is the death of Miss Marvel. Now, we all know in comic books, death isn't forever. So, and I totally believe that. I haven't read this story yet. I'm still finishing issue number 24. Then I have to do 25. Then I'm going to do this one. I'm really far behind on my Amazing Spider-Man arc. But so far, actually, I know I've been telling people that I kind of was weird, but I actually reread a lot of it again. And especially the last up to issue 20 to now, it's a really good story arc because it's kind of like the whole thing where Peter Parker and Mary Jane break up, and Mary Jane is married to somebody else and stuff, and they made that uh, deal with Mephisto. I think they're going to retcon that totally, and they're in the process of doing that. But we all know in comic books, something has to give, and in this one, Miss Marvel is going to sacrifice her life for some greater good. I don't know what. I'm not that far into it yet, but it's been all around the news, so I'm not giving away any spoilers or anything. But in this issue, which is all black, and we all know anything with the all black cover is going to be good and significant. Metallica Black Album, the 9/11 Amazing Spider-Man. This is the second time that's an all black cover has come since that. Isn't that crazy? So that's another reason why I picked this up. Not since the 9/11 tribute issue have we gotten an all black ASM cover. So that's something that's significant. The last book, I want to save the best for last. And I was able to secure a copy of The Uncanny X-Men number 221. This is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister. That's right. Now, earlier, let me show you real quick. I was able to, before it became, like now it's becoming quite popular and trending, but this is the first cover appearance of Mr. Sinister. So I got the first cover appearance and his first appearance. Why is this significant? Is because he's going to be the official baddie in the X-Men 97 relaunch on Disney Plus, a continuation of the iconic X-Men cartoon series. This time, Mr. Sinister is slated to be the big bad, and with Xavier, if you guys remember the cartoon series, Xavier is gone. He's off world with the Lilandra, whatever her name was. It looks like she had a clock head. He's with her. So Magneto is going to be taking over as the head of the X-Men. So he's going to be the leader of the X-Men, and they're going to be going on missions to stop Mr. Sinister. So Mr. Sinister is going to be one of those characters that you need to jump on now before the cartoon hits. And with the X-Men movie going to come in a few years, they already did the Magneto thing with the Fox. So I have a feeling that Mr. Sinister will also transfer into live action as well. So now is the time to pick up those two Mr. Sinister keys. If you can't get this one, which is, getting up there in price, 200, or 300 for nice grade, this is a very good consolation one. This is the one I said, when we did the unboxing for PGX, I said, this is definitely a good pickup, a good investment, solid, that won't break the bank, but has a high return down the road. So with that said, that wraps up this month's comic book pickup episode. I hope there's some things that you like. There's some things that you may want to go in and check out. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. Check out Famous Faces' live Facebook auctions. A lot of people, a lot of you have picked up some cool ass shit. And it's nice to see what you guys pick up when you watch those auctions. And the team is absolutely amazing. You're supporting small businesses. Like I said, I'm a big component of keeping dollars in the communities and in the country, in the small businesses, because that's what makes our country grow, makes stronger, gives us jobs. It just makes instead of just some big corporation or what have you. with that said, thanks for watching. We'll do another PGX unboxing. And next episode will probably be the late night with the SOCOM episodes. So stay tuned. If you're new, please hit like, subscribe to this channel. You know, I don't ask for anything. I don't ask for Patreon. I don't ask for anything. I don't really need to, but you know, it'd be just a simple like and subscribe is like a pat on the back. That's it. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm just a regular dude hanging out with some friends. So that's all how I see this as. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Codename YouTube Bureau 2. Have a good one. Bye.